Of prayer for vocations, so I thought I'd share how I ended up becoming a priest, and it's really pretty simple. I just couldn't find anyone to marry me, and this was the only other option left. That's Father Ryan's joke. Actually, I grew up in a great Catholic family. I was the fifth of 6 kids. I was an altar server growing up, and always considered that to be the most important thing I did each week, to be close to the Lord in that way in the Eucharist. And when I was 9 or 10, people would say, like, oh, you'd be such a cute little priest. And I would say, I like girls. That's not going to happen. And I really thought that because I wanted to get married, have a family, it meant that I wasn't supposed to be a priest. So it wasn't until I went on a silent retreat when I was 16. It was a weekend silent retreat for the Ignatian spiritual exercises, that in the prayer there, I really felt the Lord, saying in my heart, it might be you. It might be you that I'm calling. At one point during the retreat, the priest leading it had said, you should choose the vocation that will make you a saint. And that hit me like, oh, that's priesthood. I don't know why I thought that, but when I was talking with the priest who was leading the retreat, we had a 1-hour session of spiritual direction. I told him, I'm kind of feeling drawn to the priesthood, but I really like girls. I don't know what to do about that. And he said, that's okay. I'd be worried if you didn't. That's totally normal, but God still might be calling you. He might be calling you to make a sacrifice for others, and you need to take that seriously. So over the next 2 years, I started going to daily mass, going to adoration a lot, praying the rosary a lot, and really just fell in love with how a priest can help people. I always wanted to live my life for others. I just thought, what more could I do for someone than literally give them Jesus in the Eucharist and forgive their sins in the person of Christ? What more could I do than that? And I also thought, I'm going to spend the rest of my life wanting there to be a priest for me, to forgive my sins, to give me the Eucharist. And how can I expect someone else to give that for me if I'm not willing to give it to others? Around that time, I was really involved in my youth program. I dated a girl in the youth program for about a month. She ended up breaking up with me for one of my best friends. Turns out she was more into ugly guys. That joke is edgy, even for me. I know, it's edgy. But I then dated this other girl for about 1.5 years, and it was a great relationship. She was an awesome Catholic girl. We went to daily mass together a lot. But even after that 1.5 years of it being a good relationship, I felt the Lord saying, I'm asking something else of you. So I remember sitting in my parents' front yard with her and telling her I thought the Lord was calling me to something else. And she was crying, and it was tough. But I learned then that love often means sacrifice. So I ended up calling Father Dat, who was the vocation director at the time, and began the application process for seminary. Got about halfway through the process and got really nervous again about the celibacy thing. Just at 18, the idea of never getting married still seemed really crazy. And so I called Father Dat, told him I was feeling nervous, and he said, well, how about you come downtown and talk to me about it? So I was driving downtown. I'd read that at a certain point in discernment, you could ask God to send you a sign. So I said, okay, God, if you want me to go into seminary, send me a dove. Send me a dove. So I'm driving downtown, and I see some birds, and I'm not really sure if they're doves. And then I realized I don't really know what a dove looks like in the wild. I'm not a geologist, okay? And I should have picked something more specific. Didn't think I saw any. I went downtown, I was talking to Father Dat, and he said, well, if it's the Holy Spirit, you shouldn't feel anxiety. You should feel peace. So take a break from applying to seminary and really discern law school instead. Those were kind of my 2 options at the time. Just focus on discerning law school. So I did that for the next 3 months, focused on discerning law school. And finally, I was at a holy hour for vocations at my home parish. And it was all coming back. I didn't really want to go to law school. I was still feeling drawn to seminary, but I was also nervous about this celibacy thing. And I just told the Lord, I just want to make sure I do what you want. Just tell me what you want. If you want me to go into seminary, send me a dove. Like crash one through a window or something. Send me a dove. And right then I looked up and realized that the huge painted glass window above the altar in the church was a dove as a symbol of the Holy Spirit. And I thought, okay, Lord, I think I know what you want. And so I called Father Dat, finished the application process, entered seminary. And really, when you enter seminary, discernment doesn't end. It just intensifies. And honestly, each of those first 4 years, I was probably 50-50 coming back to seminary. It was challenging, it was a lot, and it was stressful to try to make sure I was doing what the Lord wanted. Finally, my 5th year in seminary, you spend a full year just full-time working in a parish, and I just absolutely loved it. I loved serving Mass with people. I loved being at weddings and funerals and playing dodgeball with the youth group and teaching the 5th grade theology class. There were so many moments when I thought, this would be worth giving my life to. And I realized that celibacy wouldn't be some obscure, abstract sacrifice. I'd be doing it for real people, to serve real people. So I got ordained in June of 2019, and it was just a beautiful, the day of my ordination. I remember looking out at the congregation, church was packed, and I saw all the people there, and I felt the Lord say, David Michael, these are my people. I'm a father for them. I love them. I care for them. I laid down my life for them. And today, I'm giving them to you. And I need you to be a father for them. And I need you to love them and care for them and lay down your life for them. And what a blessing it has been to do that for you. I don't love being a priest because it's easy, because it's not. I don't love it because it's fun, although it often is. I love being a priest because it's meaningful. Because every day I get to focus on the things in life that matter the most. I want this to be your takeaway this morning. This, Father David Michael, it wasn't inevitable. There were 1,000 things that had to go right for this to happen. There were so many moments I almost left seminary. There were so many natural and supernatural forces that tried to stop this. Priests don't just happen. They're real people who come from real families who make the real and difficult decision to radically follow Christ. So pray for vocations, but don't just pray for vocations. Make sure that your family is open to one.